The Toronto Raptors trade at the deadline was officially perfect. They re-signed Brandon Ingram on a 3-year, $120 million deal and were able to go out and get an all-star caliber player for Bruce Brown, who was not going to be a Raptor next year, Kelly Olynyk, who was not going to be a Raptor next year, and then Indiana's first-round pick. And unless there's implosion in Indiana, that pick's not going to be very valuable. So essentially, they went out and got one of the best pure scorers in the league because he was an expiring deal, and then re-signed him long-term pretty much for free. And people really need to stop with the Brandon Ingram disrespect. Like, he is one of the purest scorers in the league right now. 22.2 points a game, 5.6 boards, and 5.2 assists, so he's an underrated playmaker as well. It just never really worked out in New Orleans. Shooting 47% from the field, and he's up to 37% from three on almost 6 attempts, something that he's never really done before in his career, which is shoot the 3 ball. And in 18 games played this year, that's the stats he's put up. Not a bad year whatsoever. He's still an improving 3-point shooter. That's a tough shot right there into the shot clock, and then he just does stuff like this. And like we said, the fit was never really there in New Orleans alongside Zion. But I think alongside RJ Barrett, it could be a lot better. And honestly, I'd like to see Barrett play a little bit more of the point guard role. We'll talk about that in a second, though. They just re-signed him to a 3-year, $120 million deal, with the final year being a player option, which means that when you look at this graphic, they got an all-star for 2 guys they weren't even going to use next year, and like we said, Indiana's first-round pick, which will not be very valuable. That's a fleece job right there. Now, yes, you did have to pay him, which the Pelicans weren't going to do, but you add him to this big 3. People call it the mid-3. We won't call it a mid-3 yet, but of RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, and Immanuel Quickley, and I'd like to see more point guard minutes for RJ Barrett. He's averaging about 21.6 points per game, 5.7 assists, and 6.6 rebounds per game this year. The efficiency is not where I'd like it to be. Field goal percentage is fine, but 35% from 3, can we at least get that up to 37, RJ? And then, you'll be about an average 3-point shooter in the league. We'd love to see that. We'd also love to see him get back to his 2020-2021 year, where he shot 40% from beyond the arc. But he's been great this year as a ball handler. Like, the vision is getting better, his playmaking is getting better. He's still very young, and he's a great driver, a great slasher, getting to the rim in a whole bunch of different ways. He's a very smooth wing to be 6'6" when you seeing operating around the rim. And yeah, that's, if you try to put a big on him, he will cook them. If you try to put a smaller guard on him, he can go right by and get to the rim. And then even in the middle pick and roll here, making plays, right? He's reading this. He's reading Obi Toppin. As soon as Obi Toppin commits, he can drop it right off the Acapulco, but he does a great job of making Toppin play him. And then he's also great at getting deep and finding shooters in the corner or on the wing, wherever it is, such as Ochai Agbaji right here, who has developed into a really nice piece for them. We'll talk about him a little bit more later. But first, we got to talk about the smartest man in the NBA, Scottie Barnes. And Scottie has had a decent year. There have been some positives and some negatives, which, that's with anybody. He's averaging about 20 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 6.4 assists, and 1.4 steals, as well as a block per game, and has shown some flashes, just like right here. I mean, if he's hitting half-spin fadeaways, that's not an easy shot to hit by any means. He's shooting 45% from the field, 25% from 3 on 6.5 attempts. Not good whatsoever, but he's got a great change of pace, which is something that he has started to develop over the years. Like right here, against Andrew Nembhard, a smaller guard, he can get right in there and finish over him using his length, his athleticism. But last year, he shot 34% from 3 on 5 attempts, and then this year, just can't buy one. It's kind of disheartening because, you were hoping he would continue to progress. You need to be shooting at least 35-36% from 3 to stay on the court in the modern NBA on a serious team. Now, he is 6'7" with a 7'3" wingspan and can guard any position, so that helps him stay on the court defensively, but offensively, he's got to have a competent 3-point shot. Now, the question of the video, do they keep or trade Immanuel Quickley, who is on a pretty big contract, $32.5 million per year over the next 5 years, from his age 25 season to his age 30 season. And Masai Ujiri, will have a decision to make. 15.3 points per game this year for Quickley, 5.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists in 26 minutes per game. He's played 15 games, so not the biggest sample size in the world. However, he's only shooting 42% from the field, 38% from 3 on 5 attempts. That's pretty solid. But his field goal efficiency has just been not great throughout the course of his career. And he is 6'3", so it is a little bit tougher for smaller guards to score. But I think to see some progression in that area, and we just haven't so far. Now, last year he put up 17 points, almost 7 assists, and 4.8 rebounds per game in what was a really big year for him. And some people were saying this was the Immanuel Quickley trade, not the RJ Barrett trade for OG. And it just hasn't turned out that way. Now, he does have an elite float game that he can rely on, so it's nice to have a good in-between shot to count on. But is this really your lineup going forward? I don't know. Like I said, I'd like to see some RJ Barrett minutes going forward, and I'm not trying to hate too much on Immanuel Quickley, but there is some cause for concern there, as well as with Scottie Barnes' three-point shooting. But you do have Gradey Dick, the best three-point shooter in the nation, and one of my personal favorite white boys in the league. You can see the numbers this year, and yes, he's only shooting 42% from the field and 35% from 3 on 6.5 attempts, but just take a look at the degree of difficulty on some of these shots. I mean, he's catching this, fading away. That's a tough bucket. He's a true marksman in the modern NBA, whereas other guys get a lot of catch-and-shoot opportunities. He's got to be catching on the move with guys in his face, and his shot creation has gotten a lot better. And that's no slouch of a defender. That's Andre Jackson Jr., one of the better on-ball defenders in the league, and he just takes him to work, gets to his spot, and hits the fall-away jumper. That is beautiful. Now catching jab. He's going to drive right between the legs, pull it back, and knock it down. Come on now. He's more than a catch-and-shoot guy, right? He can create his own shot. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot over guys. One dribble pull-up. Easy money right there. Now, his jumper does look a little bit weird sometimes because he's got that little hitch over the top of his head, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know he's only shooting 35% from 3, but that will continue to go up as, you know, he continues to develop and get more and more comfortable in the league. Now, as for Ochai Agbaji, I mentioned him earlier. He's become a really nice piece to this Raptors team. 10.4 points per game this year, as well as being a plus defender with his length and athleticism. Here he is in the passing lanes, getting the deflection. And this is a guy, another Kansas guy, him and Gradey Dick, although they never played together. But Ochai is 6'6", and he's got a 6'10" wingspan, which can really clog passing lanes, and he can also knock down the 3-ball, which is something that not many guys on the Raptors can do right now. 41% shooting from downtown on 4 attempts, also shoots 52% from the field overall, and for a guy that just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last year, he's become a great catch-and-shoot weapon for this Raptors team. Just guards kicking it to him, and he's knocking it down. Really, at a 41% clip, that is a really nice number there from beyond the arc. And then you got Jakob Poeltl, who we got to talk about a little bit down low. He looks like the center that they're ready to roll with for the next few years to come out of this rebuild. He's averaging 14 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, and 1.2 blocks, as well as 1.3 steals. So he's a solid defensive center on top of shooting 61% from the field in 31 minutes. And he's still 29 years old, so still a little bit of time to have in his prime. I'd say he's got about 3 more years left of his prime, and then he'll start to maybe fall off a little bit. We'll see, though. And then Jamison Battle, a guy that has been a pleasant surprise for this Raptors team. Now, yes, he's only averaging 5.4 points and 1.8 rebounds in 13 minutes a game. He's played 35 games. And he's been a nice surprise, at least when it comes to shooting efficiency. 46% from the field, 41% from 3 on 3 attempts. Now, I know he's not getting the most minutes in the world, but as a rookie, being able to come in and knock down shots with this efficiency off rip, I believe he won Rookie of the Month earlier this season as well. He's been really solid. Now, the decision to move on from Davion Mitchell at the deadline opens it up for other young guards like Jamal Shead and Jacoby Walter to get more minutes, so I don't hate that whatsoever, even though I did like Davion. With that being said, though, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button. We're looking for about 300 likes on today's video. And with that being said, thanks so much for watching.